Hi there everyone, this is Ashley with Marsh Flower Studio. In this video I am going to be making a friendship bracelet. Um, this is something I recently made for one of my events and they did really well. It's a very fast, very easy thing that you can whip up a ton of in no time. Lots of different colors. I am typically making these with a soft cotton yarn, simply because when I have used acrylic yarns in the past, even the softer ones, they tend to be a little scratchy on your wrist after a little while. The cotton yarns don't do that for me, so I stick with all of these nice pretty cotton colors that I can find. I also kind of prefer the variegated ones, just, personal preference. I do a lot of these in solid colors as well. So we'll have our yarn, and this is an I Love This Cotton from Hobby Lobby. The color is Eastern Nova. It is a size 4 medium weight yarn, and they recommend a 5.5mm hook, but I like my stitches to be tight, so I'm using a 3.5mm hook. The other thing that I'm using, I've got buttons that we're going to use for our clasp part of this, and to sew on our button I've got just a regular needle and thread. Okay, and of course we'll have scissors. To figure out the length of bracelet that you want to make, I just use bracelets that I know fit me. So this is one that I wear regularly, and from the clasp to the end, because I usually have it pretty close to where it ends here, it's usually about 7.5 inches. If you want to have them a little bigger so they fit wrists that are a little larger or a little smaller, you can kind of adjust how long you make your initial foundation chain. So if you know how to make a foundation chain, this is very, very easy, simple. If you're not familiar with it, I'm going to try to show you really quick. All right, so we're going to make our knot just like we're going to make a regular chain. However you make your slip knot, completely fine. Okay, we're going to do 2 chains, and then this is where we start working on that foundation chain kind of aspect of it. I'm going to get a little closer so it's a little easier to see what I'm actually working with here. So with this foundation chain, we're going to go under, instead of using my fingers, I'm going to use one of these. We're going to go under this outside loop on this side from the first chain we made. Okay, so we're going to go under, and we're going to pull through. So this is how it differs from a regular chain, because instead of just yarning over and pulling through both loops, we're going to yarn over and only pull through the first loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through both. Okay, and that's how we're going to continue. So we've got 2 loops on our working yarn right now, right? 2 up here, and then this was the first loop we pulled through. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this first loop that we pulled through every time when we need to pull another row. So I'm going to go under just that front loop, pull up, then I'm going to pull through the first one, and then pull through both. Okay, so I've got 2 loops on my working yarn up here. I'm going to go to that first loop. So we're going to yarn over and pull through one, and that's your loop that you're going to go through for your next row. We're going to yarn over and pull through both. Go the first loop, yarn over and pull through one, yarn over and pull through both. Okay, so that's how we're just going to continue. Until we have the desired length of our bracelet. This is the same thing that I also do when I'm going to give any of my little plushy animals a collar. I will make their collar this way as well. And if you want to use other yarns, obviously you can. Just make sure you use an appropriate hook size for the yarn that you want to use. So right now I'm at about 5 inches. So let me roll it down. I've got about 5 inches now. I'm getting some of my stuff tangled. Sorry. I get distracted with where I need to look, and then I realize that I've taken my hands out of view of the camera. Let's see. All right, we are just over 7.5 inches. So I'm going to do a regular chain. Oh, I want to do that so you can actually see me do the regular chain. Okay, so I'm going to do my regular, just one chain. I'm going to turn and go down the back side of this foundation chain. So with the foundation chain, it creates these nice little pockets where you can put stitches on this other side. And when you work on a regular chain, if you have to work down the back side, it's a little bit of a guessing game to figure out where some of the stitches are supposed to go, depending on how tight or how loose you work. I always struggle. So I'm going to just work a slip stitch into each one of these little pocket holes. back in the very first one. All right, so here is my little bracelet. All right, so we're going to put the button on this end that's farthest away from where we finished. I'm going to use one of these teal buttons. Pull that off. I'm not going to fasten off just yet. Because I will need to make a loop to go over the button to kind of serve as a fastener. So I'm going to come from the back. I'm going to go through more times than this, but I like to put a knot in the beginning so that I don't accidentally pull it through. Okay. Keep in mind that this is serving as a fastener, and it's going to get pulled on, tugged on, you know, just being taken on and off. So you want to make sure that it is nice and secure. Right. I trim these pretty short because I will come back with some super glue and just put a little drop right there on those ends to make sure that that's really secure and not just going to come untied. Okay. So now that I've got my button, I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to make a little chain that's nice and tight. And I need just enough so that once it is secured, it will fit over top of that. Sorry, I just realized I was doing it again. I want to make it just long enough so that it'll fit over top of that button when it is being taken on and off. So I think for this one that's actually enough. Come over to the other side of this foundation row here and do a little slip stitch to attach it. And then we will cut, pull through, and then I will take these and kind of weave them through the back here and tie them. And again, I'll put another drop of super glue back here where these two are tied, just to make sure that they are really nice and secure and are not going to come undone as the bracelet is being taken on and off. So there's our little friendship bracelet. You can do all kinds of different color combinations, buttons. Just make sure your button is large enough for it to hold this chain to go over. I had a little girl ask if she could use this tiniest little button I had randomly in my jar, and I was like, yeah, that's not gonna stay. So keep that in mind. You need a button big enough to actually hold that chain loop. But that is how I make my little friendship bracelets. Also, dog and cat collars and other stuffed animals sometimes get collars as well. Very cute, very simple, easy to do. If you have not, please like and subscribe to the channel. There are lots and lots of other videos for quick and easy things to make, lots of keychain size things that are, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to make, and they're done. All of those little things do really well for me when I do events, and it's kind of the bread and butter of what pays the bills. So, hope you guys like this quick little tutorial. If you would like to see something else specific made or have questions, pop it in the comments, and I'm usually pretty good about getting back to answer those. But I'll see you next time. Happy hooking!